So let's move on to the NFC. The NFC last year, not a lot of it seemed like it was top heavy, but some teams emerged, I think, last year, and one of them will start in the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Philadelphia Eagles were a couple of plays away from being Super Bowl champions. You could argue they should have been Super Bowl champions. They choked it away in the second half by letting, of all things...
Couldn't happen to a better place.
Right.
No, they're a really good football team. I just don't like them because I'm a Cowboys fan.
They paid Jalen Hurts, which they should have done.
Try to be honest.
I agree.
Try to be an honest broker here.
Objective is the word you're looking for.
I'm trying to be honest broker here. When I'm not objective, it's because I don't like the Eagles.
Correct. But
I'm trying to be objective.
They have a core of a Super Bowl team that went there. The Super Bowl hangover is a thing. A lot of teams that make the Super Bowl and lose don't do well the next year, but they paid Hurts. They didn't get worse. They drafted really well.
Yeah.
They have put all the talent around Jalen Hurts.
Really fell to them in the draft. I mean, it really could not have worked out better for them.
Very savvy front office work by the Philadelphia Eagles the last two seasons.
They had I say it fell to them. They also had a shit ton of draft picks.
It helped.
That helps.
But
good draft picks because they had traded stuff previous years, and so they had set themselves up for it was like the perfect draft for a team that just ascended last year, and then they have all these extra draft picks in the first and second rounds, and you're just like, oh my God, like this is just going to be unfair.
But that's the savvy front office stuff. Reverse Los Angeles Rams, who are a little bit later.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are in the same camp as like the Bengals. The only thing that holds them back is injury.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they're a fluke team. I think that the way that they ran the ball last year was playing to their strengths. They had elite offensive line play. It's hard to think that offensive line is going to be worse.
No, I think
you never know, though.
No, they're good. They're really good. Swift looked good in the first.
That's a big pickup.
If he stays healthy, that's a question of health. Swift always gets hurt, so we'll see if he doesn't get hurt this time. Yeah, man, they might as well be the University of Georgia North.
Exactly.
I mean, half their players came from the University of Georgia, so we'll see how good that translates. It's a good place to be from right now.
So they're a definite team. I think another definite team in this division is the Commanders. I know a lot of people are higher on them than I am, but Ron Rivera, to me, does not strike me as a good NFL head coach anymore.
I had this same conversation with someone yesterday. They were like, I'm worried about the Commanders. They've got Bieniemy now, and they've got a great defense. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I just feel like Ron Rivera just like, I don't know. He just feels like he got a lot of credit for a really good season in Carolina, and he's just been average at best ever since then. I'm just not sure about it. He seems like a great individual, but just as a head coach, just not getting it done.
Rivera, to me, last year, not knowing that they could get eliminated in a game, even if you don't know that, never want to admit it, and just this past week, talking about and saying things like the players are scared of Eric Bieniemy because of how he coaches. Like, why are you saying that to the public? I don't understand it. To me, he seems like a buffoon as an NFL head coach.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I don't think I could do it better, but that's not good. And I think that they have Sam Howell as their quarterback. Who
I think he could be good, but not great.
But
maybe great, actually. I don't know. I think he could be good. He may be like a dark horse, one of those guys who plays well.
He could be, but I think the expectations are low. I think they have a good defense, but at the end of the day, this is not a team I think that's going to compete because it's a tough division. I think they have a buffoon head coach, and I think it won't be long before Eric Bieniemy at least gets maybe a head coaching nod.
Maybe he'll get to fly up.
He
this
should.
may be the way to get him to finally get a head coaching job. If they end up having a halfway decent or shitty year part of the way through, I could see them moving on from Ron Rivera and just flying Bieniemy up and giving him a test.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
And then there's the New York Giants, who I felt like were ahead of the curve last year. Dayball comes in, and they look like a serviceable team. Danny Dimes had a good season. Thing is, though, Danny Dimes had a good season, not a great season.
Sure.
And I think it was masked by the fact that that team culturally changed a little bit. Saquon being in, I think, obviously helped.
Yeah.
He was healthy, competent head coaching play. But now they get a playoff win, right? They go into Minnesota and get a playoff win.
Yeah.
But I still think they were punching above their weight. And now you come into this season, Daniel Jones gets $40 million, and congrats to him, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, he did what he was supposed to do. Why would you say, nah, don't pay me as much?
Yeah.
Go out and get your money.
Yeah.
Whatever. And you know what? For all the crap that he got for getting picked where he got picked, that wasn't his fault.
No.
Not his fault that he got picked fifth. The Giants don't know how to draft. They drafted Saquon, third or something? But anyway, this is a team that has some expectations now because of last year, and I felt like last year was sort of an aberration for them. And I just don't know if they're going to be any good this year.
It felt like the Giants, I think the Giants, they could be, everyone's going to say, the Giants are saying they're going to be great this year. Sometimes it felt like the Giants, like they were on the right side of Lady Luck a lot last year.
That's why I said punching above their weight.
Sometimes that eventually regresses to the mean. And so I just don't know about the Giants. I think they could be a good club this year, probably not a great one. Saquon stays healthy, maybe that could help. Danny Dimes doesn't throw a bunch of interceptions or turn the ball over. Possible. I don't know. There's just a lot of question marks. A lot of question marks on the Giants, a lot of question marks with the Commanders. They're still the Commanders? Still the Commanders.
They are still the Commanders.
Yeah, sorry.
Just not owned by Daniel Snyder.
They're not owned by Daniel Snyder anymore.
The Giants at least went in and got Darren Waller, who was one of the better tight ends in the league. So they have weapons on the Giants. But Dallas Cowboys I left to last because they're your team, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're a team in this division that has no business being bad.
No.
Right? They have a lot of talent.
I think they have. They will rival San Francisco for the best defense in the league this year.
And that's the thing. But what it comes down to for some of these teams, just like the Bills, just like the Ravens, is they have no problem getting to the playoffs, at least for the most part.
Yeah. I mean,
now,
2 12-win seasons in a row.
Exactly. But they seem to always lose to a team that, on paper, they have no business losing to.
Right.
And that's the biggest part of the narrative for the Dallas Cowboys is Dak Prescott and the team, not just Dak, the team.
Mm-hmm.
When are they going to take the next step?
Yeah.
And win?
A perfect example was like they should have been able to beat San Francisco in the playoffs last year. Dak had an awful game. You know, the rest of the team was playing great, but he had an awful game. Just awful.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where it's like you want to see him. And last year, Dak really had an awful year, actually. If you look at it statistically, it was an awful year for him. It was a statistical abnormality, though. I will say that in the sense that
it was a weird year.
He doesn't normally turn the ball over like that. None of his other seasons have been like that. So you hope that it was an abnormality and he comes back to, you hope he regresses to his mean, which is a much more average to above average quarterback. And I think with an average to above average quarterback with that defense, you can go a long way. My biggest worry is the offensive line in Dallas because for an above average to above average quarterback to excel, you need good offensive line play. Their offensive line is, I mean, they're Pro Bowl guard, they have a Pro Bowl center. He's hurt right now, but not really hurt. He'll play. I'm not really worried about him. You have probably the best offensive guard in the league in Zack Martin, who's currently holding out. And there's like a big, giant chasm between the Dallas Cowboys and Zack Martin right now on whether he's going to get paid or not. That worries me because there's no one behind Zack Martin to play that position. On left guard, you have their draft pick from last year who was very good playing both left tackle or left guard. Not really worried about that. You've got a Pro Bowl, probably Hall of Famer on the left tackle position who's also injury prone. And if he gets hurt, your left guard has to slide up to left tackle. God, now if I could be missing 2 guards in the middle, that's the worst place for the quarterback to have weaknesses in the middle of the line because that's what the middle line is what keeps people out of his face. I'm nervous about the offense being able to score points because I'm worried that they have the talent on the field. Brandon Cooks is an amazing addition. CeeDee Lamb is clearly outstanding as a receiver. Tony Pollard's a great running back. But, man, I worry that if the offensive line can't protect Dak Prescott or Dak Prescott can't get over his woes from last year, you could see this being teams with a great – they're going to end up looking like the Washington Commanders. They're going to have this great defense, and they're not going to produce. And it's going to be sad. And, as you said, Dak or bust, that could be the end of Dak Prescott in Dallas.
It could be. I think that's the weird narrative is like for as mostly good as Dak Prescott has been, at some point you have to wonder, like, when do you move on? It's hard to move on.
This team went all in this year.
I agree.
I mean, they really have. I think, and they're going to end up paying Zack Martin probably. All my complaints and concerns about it will probably alleviate. They're going to pay him.
They should pay him, though,
right? No, they should. Well, he was the highest paid offensive guard in the league until 2 other guys signed this year and made him paid more. And so now it's kind of like, I think a little bit from the Dallas's perspective is like, are you kidding me, Zach? Like, we made you the highest paid guard in the league. We're trying to put together a team here, and now you're coming back and saying, I'm not going to come unless you pay me more. And granted, I agree, though. He's the best guard in the league. You should just pay him. It's just hard, though, because it's not that the Cowboys, like, Jerry Jones is rich, right? If it were up to Jerry Jones, I'm sure he would pay him. The league doesn't let you just pay him, though.
Pay
right?
him, Jerry.
Yeah, I would pay him. Pay him. Give us a chance this year. We're going to go all in this year. You look at the people we drafted and the people that we traded for. Clearly, you're going all in this year. Pay Zack Martin and give it a shot.
You heard it here, folks.